What up, YouTube? It's your boy Mike Fulahope here. Another video, man. Today I want to talk about something that is always on people's timelines. There's always some kind of controversy surrounding this particular word, concept, whatever you want to call it. Something that is a sensitive topic to a lot of people, and people feel like they have to deal with it on a daily basis. So I'm gonna put it all into perspective for you guys today. That particular word is cultural appropriation. Put me on GQ. Put me on GQ. I help my community out, servicing all of you. Put me on GQ. Put me on GQ. Okay, YouTube, the definition of cultural appropriation. Cultural appropriation is defined as the act of using or taking things from a culture that is not your own, especially in the case of you not showing that you understand or respect that particular culture. Example, some see his use of African music as cultural appropriation. Now, YouTube, what's important to keep in mind is that everybody on this earth, because we live in a globalized world, everybody to a certain extent participates in some type of cultural exchange. This is the reason why countries go to war. Believe me, take a look at children. You have cases where kids in different places around the world are fascinated with the cultures and the kind of nuances of stuff and styles and, you know, colors and lifestyles, life positions that other people in different parts of the world have. There's kids in Asia that love hip-hop music in America. There's people in Europe that love the styles and the food that is curated in the Middle East. You have kids in India that, hey, they have a taste for a lot of the kind of, you know, dances and, you know, songs that are made in Latin America, or people in Africa that can't wait to go to the Caribbean and, you know, hang out with people from the Caribbean that have these Caribbean-like lifestyles, this kind of islandy culture, or this sea life, this kind of small, isolated, you know, lifestyle or living arrangements that they might not necessarily see back home. And this is something that ultimately, in my opinion, I see as normal. Countries will trade with one another based off of what they don't have and what they see in other countries, and people will buy stuff that they see on TV that might not be made in their own country. I'm wearing a shirt right now that I think is from the Philippines, actually, and it's natural for stuff like this to happen. You get, you know, people that live in the desert want to have stuff imported that to where they live, that, you know, the goods there are a little bit different from the goods and the minerals and resources that come in from their own homeland. Just to give you an example, according to the U.S. Census Bureau of Economic Analysis, in December 2016, the main consumer of American products was denoted as the Canadian. 15% of all U.S. exports go to Canada. Chinese exports to the U.S. nearly totaled $500 billion in 2015. 80% of the goods made in Mexico are purchased by Americans, and the main consumer of Chinese goods are Americans as well. In the year 2014, Forbes did an article on markets in Russia claiming that Russian goods consumed by Indian households had an increasing growth rate of as much as 38% and 19% growth rate by Brazilians. I'm a fiend for me some Russian beer. Now, this is just a small 2 or 3 references of how we as humans from different areas, different nations, and different places have, over the course of history, been hit with the fate of interconnection and trade.
Where's the line drawn, though? The line that is drawn, the point where it becomes cultural appropriation as opposed to cultural exchange. That line is sometimes really complicated and extremely complex. Going back to the example I stated earlier, taking something from someone else's community without the respect of the inhabitants of that community is essentially the same mindset and attitude behind slavery. If I am not a West African man, and, I don't know if that's true because, I don't know if I'm West African or not. But let's just say for this example, we know that I am not. But I love West African music. The example of cultural appropriation would be for you to catch me listening to West African music, but then later catching me being spiteful or racist or hateful towards West Africans. West Africans? I don't give a damn about those people. Cultural appropriation. If you don't care about West African people, don't listen to West African music. You're ripping the culture. Now, I'll speak for my community as an African American. When I say that sometimes we get really sensitive and are irritated at some of the kind of responses toward our well-being and toward a lot of our movements for freedom, such as the Black Lives Matter movement, or the responses to discrimination and racism by groups like the Black Panthers or, the NAACP. And that's ultimately because we feel as if sometimes that our strides, our accomplishments, the work that we've done here in the U.S. is so oftenly taken for granted. And, our culture essentially is appropriated. I have a list of things as far as, black music being, or black culture being part of a grander scheme of popular culture here in the U.S., but people feel a certain way about African Americans or a number of our inventors, our contributions such as the gas mask, potato chips, traffic signals, slaves creating the White House, helping build the White House, all being done by, African Americans. Yet, we didn't even get the right to vote until 1964, let alone get a president until 2 centuries later. The White House was built in 1792. So, this whole idea that people can, benefit from the works of a particular group of people and not really care about those people's well-being is something that is done not just to my community, but it's done to everybody's community. And the overall message that I would like to, convey to everybody watching is don't engage in that community's work if you don't care about them people. If you don't like white people, stop listening to the Beatles. If you watch Bollywood music, then you better appreciate those who are from South Asia. And if you speak black slang, you better be the main one at the Black Lives Matter protesting when one of us is killed. So, thanks for watching. Comment below. My Fulahope out.